I'm going to tell you right now, if he comes in and causes problems, Philly fans are going to rip him apart. And I know he doesn't want that. This is a tough city, a blue-collar, hard-nosed fan base that likes to see people succeed, but also you got to work for it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel for a video that I've really wanted to make over the past couple days, and we're going to be talking about the 2020 NFL Draft. And one pick in particular, no, it was not the first pick in the draft, not the second, but it was actually the 53rd pick by the Philadelphia Eagles as they selected Jalen Hurts. Obviously, this was met by some interesting reactions from the Philly faithful, and I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give my thoughts and my takes and some pros and cons to the pick and how I think it may turn out for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and how their relationship may bring some positive and negative aspects to the team. So before we get into that, I want to talk real quick about some of Hurts' stats in college. And in particular, one thing to look at is the way that his completion percentage has increased over the past couple years. When he started at Bama, he was obviously successful and he was a highly recruited and touted player. But his completion percentage was pretty low. When he transferred to Oklahoma, his completion percentage was just under 70%. So that's really a good sign for someone who was dubbed as an inaccurate passer and was kind of just labeled for using his legs and his athleticism to kind of get out of things. And don't get me wrong, he certainly is able to do that, and he's a great runner. But I do think his accuracy has improved greatly over the past couple of years. So that's a positive sign that you want to see. And that was a big knock on him. So for him to increase that really does help a lot. So the Eagles, with their first pick in the draft, with the 21st pick, they selected Jalen Reagor. And I really like that pick, actually, because of his speed and his athleticism that I think will open more things down the field for Carson during next year's season. But you look at that pick, and then you say, okay, we have a receiver. We got our guy in terms of what Howie wanted. And then you say, where do I go from here? There are multiple needs that needed to be addressed in this draft, and they were able to do that by getting a linebacker in Davion Taylor. And they did draft a offensive lineman in Jack Driscoll, but they also needed some stability in terms of Howie's eyes. That's his view of it, I guess, and finding a backup quarterback. So now after you draft Reagor, you're at 53 in the second round, and have an option to go linebacker. You could have traded the pick to go even higher and get a Henry Ruggs, who I really think was the guy that the Eagles wanted, even though a lot of people were saying CeeDee Lamb. I think that Henry Ruggs would have been a really good fit for the Eagles offense. But then you kind of go and you lose him, and now you're at 53, and what do? Well, in terms of Howie and Doug and the whole staff talking about that, it seems like they really wanted Jalen Hurts, and they wanted to kind of cultivate experience and talent in the quarterback room. And you know what? To be honest, I don't 100% agree with them, and I'm going to get into why. So let's look at the positive things for Jalen Hurts. And for starters, he certainly improves the quarterback room and the backup quarterback position. I think he'll slide right past Nate Sudfeld, even though Nate Sudfeld has that experience and he's played before and he knows the offense and he's familiar with everything that's going on. And Jalen Hurts is coming into it new and fresh. But I think just the talent and the experience that Hurts has had and the pedigree that he brings, he'll ultimately just be that backup quarterback. And Nate Sudfeld will drop to the 3 spot. I mentioned this earlier, but the athleticism that Hurts brings with his legs and his ability and knowledge of the game just makes him that more dynamic as a passer and a quarterback. So if something were to happen to Carson, and I'm not saying there's going to be something that's going to happen to Carson, but you never know. Football is a crazy game and injuries occur a lot. And if it does, they have Jalen Hurts in there, and he can provide some problems for the opposing defense. The other thing that a lot of people are talking about right now is kind of bringing a package and creating a package for Jalen Hurts that would put him at wide receiver like a Taysom Hill. And I would really like that. I think that would be interesting, although I don't think there's too many plays that you can do, and you can't do it too often. but I do think that it'll kind of put opposing defenses on their toes when you bring him in the game and you put him at wide receiver and then motion him. I think that will create a lot of confusion, and defenses are going to have to prepare for that. And I really think Doug Peterson is going to be anxious to create some plays to kind of keep everyone guessing. The thing that I question with this package is, will Jalen Hurts like that role? Will he want to be in the wide receiver spot? I ultimately think he doesn't. He really wants to be a quarterback, and we've seen that theme before come and play a lot of times. And you look at a guy on the team, specifically a Greg Ward, who was a former quarterback. He transitions to wide receiver. Last year, when everyone gets hurt, Greg Ward's the guy. No one knows who Greg Ward is until he shows up and starts playing. And he was on the practice squad for a while, and everyone gets hurt. And look who it is. It's Greg Ward. Jalen Hurts is a rookie. Let's be honest. He does not have much say in what he does. If he comes into this Eagles locker room and goes to Doug Peterson and Howie and says, "Hey, this is what I want to do. I want to be a quarterback. I want to start. I want to compete for the starting job." You can't come in and go all guns blazing, because this is Carson Wentz's job. It just is. I'm going to tell you right now, if he comes in and causes problems, Philly fans are going to rip him apart. And I know he doesn't want that. This is a tough city, a blue-collar, hard-nosed fan base that likes to see people succeed, but also you got to work for it. You got to put the time in. You got to put the effort. And I like someone who's confident. He's a confident guy. He's a winner. He has that experience, but he is a rookie. He's coming into this all fresh and new, and he's coming into this city from a place where he's used to winning and used to being treated and loved, and this city will give you tough love, and you got to earn that tough love. I think he's going to have a rude awakening if he comes in here and starts saying comments. So we'll really see if that does play out in that way. Definitely keep your eye on what he says and does in these next couple months. All right, now let's get into some of the cons. I already kind of segued into that. But when you look at that pick and you think what they could have done, if you trade that pick and get a Henry Ruggs, I think Henry Ruggs is better than Jalen Reagor. Although I like Jalen Reagor, I do like the pick where they were able to choose him at. But I think Ruggs would have been a better fit. I think he's a more of a talented player, more of a proven player. I think Reagor could help out on special teams, returning punts, and kind of turning into a Deshaun Jackson. But I do think that Ruggs was a better player. And then another big question I have is, how is the chemistry going to be? Because it's really going to be interesting to see how Jalen gets along with Carson. I know he said, I want to learn from Carson, and I want to be the best quarterback I can be, and that's great. But how is that all going to play out in the quarterback room? Is that going to be a good relationship? I think that's yet to be determined. Overall, I just think that this pick was not the right fit for the Eagles, although I do really like what they did in the draft. I do think Howie overall did a good job. He addressed the needs of the team, but this pick is the pick that everyone's been talking about, and it's for a good reason, because it really just came out of left field after you signed Carson Wentz last year to that mega deal. In doing that, everyone's thinking, okay, this is Carson's team. No more Nick Foles. Nick Foles now is in Chicago after going from Jacksonville to the Bears. This is Carson's team. It's his locker room, and that's really what they wanted. And then you bring in a guy who has experience and leadership and has won at the college level and finished second in the Heisman voting and was a talented kid. So that just begs the question, why? Why? And that's what a lot of people are asking. So I hope I kind of clarified that for you guys as to what to look for in Jalen Hurts, what he brings to the team, what he can maybe enhance in the offense. But there's also problems that lie with this pick. The fan base is going to be watching this very closely, and he's going to be looked at under the microscope. So any little step he takes, it's going to be either praised or scrutinized. So he's really got to be careful with what he does. And that's going to be the talk of training camp. I guarantee you it's going to maybe be a good thing, because I feel like when the Eagles are talked about in a positive way, they don't always succeed and live up to expectations. But it's when you don't think that they're going to do anything, or things are kind of not trending in the right direction for them, that's when they step up. It's when that underdog mentality, when everyone's not liking what they're doing or is rooting against them, that's when the Philadelphia Eagles thrive. So, maybe this could be, in a weird way, a positive thing for this team. Who knows? But I don't agree with the pick. That's why. If you want to see more videos like this of me breaking down either football, baseball, basketball, hockey, any kind of stuff, I know right now there's not much going on in the sporting world. The draft was the first ray of sunshine in a while, so that was really good to see. Other than that, though, The Last Dance, the documentary about Michael Jordan, has been fantastic. I will do a breakdown of that once that's all finished up. Thank you all so much for watching. Comment down below whether or not you thought the Eagles had a good draft or a bad draft, what picks you liked, what picks you didn't like, and also, obviously, the Jalen Hurts pick. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. I really appreciate that if you did. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Go Birds. Peace out.